And they used to tell the children, if you don't watch out, Peppa will get you. Yeah, Apep or Pepsa will come and get you. The Egyptians. Yeah. Yeah, we'll come to Coca-Cola in a minute. It's so vulgar, I have to leave it to the end. We were thinking of putting some barf bags under the chairs. I don't know if you got them. But you got to find out who Sergeant Pepper really is and who Dr. Pepper really is. The symbol of Saturn, the Saturnalian cult that Jordan Maxwell has exposed. Also the symbols of Saturn. The Nike swoosh is the corner of the gleam of the planet Saturn, because these people belong to ancient cults. And the concept of black that is used in Nike is important. Lots of symbols doubling up there as Saturnian symbols. I told you that they use mostly fire signs and earth signs, and that is true. But sometimes they will use the air signs when it works for them. And one of the most commonly used air signs is the sign of Aquarius. Anybody here in Aquarius? Well, they sometimes use your sign. And here is one that has been done very cleverly. Always when you see the circle, your eye only focuses on what's in the circle, and that's what they want to intend. In your mind, take away the circle and extend the lines, and you get what's called the wavy line that is familiar with those who are Aquarians. And Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus, which represents freedom, you know, gender and liberty, and the youth movement. Well, isn't that what Volkswagen's whole sales pitch was in the first place? Right. Viacom, if you look at their actual corporate logo, it arrives like a lightning flash. If you actually look at it on television, you'll see that the Viacom is like a wave of electricity. It is the sign of Aquarius that they're using, the media. We talked about the pyramid. It is another, you know, constantly pervasive symbol. All over you will find the symbol of the pyramid. There's so many of them. One could just do a whole lecture on just the symbol of the pyramid, the red and blue degrees there again. The missing capstone and the pentagram. Symbols like this, for instance, of the awards. I find it interesting that the American Business Awards are using the pyramid. Oh yeah. And you'll see a lot of this. I mean, obviously you've seen images like this of the ascent to the sun and the sky and the background, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. Lots of symbolism there. You'll see things like this that your eye will not focus on until your higher mind sees the sun and the steps of the pyramid. Microsoft, start here at the bottom of the pyramid, go up. These people are interested in pyramids and technology. Here's beer, Keystone beer. Don't have to belabor the point, because Jordan was pointing out yesterday what Keystone really means is the top of the pyramid. Here is Absolute, using the pyramid, the sphere, and the obelisk. This one intrigues me. It has the sun and the pyramid and the serpent made to look like water. Right, beer. Who owns the beer? Who owns the alcohol companies? A whole study in itself. It goes back to the pirates, but it even goes back before that to who runs these poisons. Right? The tax-exempt Knights of Malta and the Knights Templar, who were tax-exempt, were the ones who opened the inns and the taverns and the bars. It's a whole interesting story, and why those bars and taverns in England are called strange occult names like the Green Dragon and the horse, and you know, the white horse or the black horse and the rose and the crown. Ever wondered about those strange names, the plough and the stars, and why they're called arms? Anybody gone into England, you'll know that the taverns are called arms, implying that it was a military order that opened them to poison the people of the world that go down there at 5 o'clock and sit there till 12 o'clock complaining about the government and drinking their brains out. Nothing gets done. That was the intention. The dissemination of poisons in our society, sugar, tobacco, alcohol, you name it, vaccinations, fluoride, is a study in itself. Is
that why they call them malt liquor?
Possibly. Very interesting that. Yeah, we want to maybe look into that. Terminology, I love it. Words, that's how we have to start thinking. Symbol literacy. Look with the eyes of children again, the right brain. Don't let a thing slip by. In one of the great stories by Conan Doyle of Sherlock Holmes, when Sherlock Holmes was trying to talk about his technique to Dr. Watson, who couldn't get it, he said, I'll sum it up this way. He said, when you come to Baker Street to visit me, you come up the stairs every day. How many stairs are there, Watson? He goes, I don't know. He goes, you see, but you do not observe. That's all it's about. In the Bible it says, having eyes ye see not, having ears ye hear not. It's time to start watching them. Madonna, the Illuminati pyramid on her back. Camel, the Illuminati pyramids. And the man, see this? See the leg? You see how that's a human being? There's his face looking out this way. There's his chest and his arm. There's a human being there. Yeah. You have to, we could spend some time, but unfortunately we don't have it. We'll get a packet and look at it. And by the way, anybody here familiar with sacred geometry? The idea of the phi ratio and the golden section? Cigarette boxes are actually designed based on the golden rectangle. So just holding them has a therapeutic effect. Not in a good way, but in a negative way. That's one of the selling pitches they do. Not only there's opium in the tobacco and all of that. Yes, there's lots of things that create addiction, but these people are very adroit. Even the ratio of how the lid to the rest of the box and how it's opened and the arousal that comes with that. But you can use the same techniques for your own healing. These are for your degradation. Go and measure your beds at home. If you have children, discover whether their beds are based on the phi ratio or not. Because these companies that make the beds for you and the children's cots make sure that they're not based on sacred ratios, so you have restless sleep. And so you have nightmares. Chuck them out the window and do it right. Make your own beds, make them based on sacred geometry, and watch what happens to your life patterns and your sleep patterns, just from that one thing alone. Courtney Pine, Illuminati symbolism. Who runs KinderCare? Big question. Better find out. Look at their symbol. Oh yeah. Wonder why children go missing? I wonder about it. Swedish bank using the eye on the pyramid. One of the most powerful ancient symbols of Freemasonry, one of their specific, most sacred symbols to them, right? The one they don't want to tell you about a lot is what's called the double ashlar, or the double cube. It's a well-known symbol to Freemasons. If you, in your mind's eye, look at this chevron symbol, word that doesn't mean anything in English, you'll find that that is a cube. You see that? In 3 dimensions. Is one cube sitting on another? And it's red and blue, like the red and blue degrees. Here it is again. The 2 cubes. The 2 cubes. The cube. Look out for this. The triple or the double cube. These chevrons, don't you find them also in the military as the chevrons? You ever wonder why those stripes were there? Private, corporal, sergeant? No, 1st degree, 2nd degree, or 3rd degree Freemason. That's all it means. Anybody who served in those forces knows you can't get very far unless you want to start shaking some hands, right? The double cube and the world. What does that symbol mean otherwise? I mean, what is it? It's a double cube on its side. Yves Saint Laurent, double cube. Dodge Chrysler, double cube. Another one of the symbols that they care about deeply, and you should know about, is what's called the red square. Why do we say we get caught up in red tape? Why do they cut the red tape, you know? Or the red carpet. Look how many corporate logos use the red square just alone. And how many flags. Do you remember when I think it was Reagan actually met Gorbachev for the first time? The first so-called meeting between East and West at Perestroika? The cameras didn't start rolling until the 2 of these people walked out into what was called Red Square in Moscow. And then when they were in the center of Red Square, then they turned and shook hands for the cameras. Interesting that, I thought. Right? It's in the center of Red Square.